All right, I'm going to call this one Playing and Thinking in the Common Keys. And the common keys are C, A, G, E, and D. Makes it easy to remember. And those are the common keys. I know you've heard the cage system before, about the cage system. That's not what this is about. Those just happen to also be the most common open keys on the guitar. When I say open keys, I mean open strings, down here in this happy region, right? And that's where we're going to stay today. We're going to stay in that happy region. But rather than just feeling comfortable with playing in one, two, or three keys, we're gonna kick it up and get into five different keys. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit of reading here. The guitar is a key-sensitive instrument. That means it's happier in certain keys, right? That's why everybody plays, those sounds in that position. And some keys will sound more resonant on the guitar than others, and so on. I mean, and not to say that those chords aren't important. They are important, but in this style, what we're really talking about is sort of that common rhythm style, right? That we play in open position when we're accompanying in a number of different styles. Okay, so the foundational chord functions in all keys are the 1, the 4, and the 5. Or, in other words, the tonic, the subdominant, and the dominant. The tonic being the root of the key. Remembering chords come from scales, so if we built a chord from the scale of C major, this would be a C chord. This would be an F major chord, and this would be a G major chord. And that would give us a 1, 4, 5 chord progression. See? You've heard that right over and over again. We'll stick down here. I just wanted you to hear that voice movement. Okay, that's a 1, 4, 5 chord progression. And we want to take that 1, 4, 5 chord progression through some different keys. All right. So we can arrive at the keys by just simply counting on our fingers. That's why you've got 5 fingers, because all of these are a fifth away. C, D, E, F, G, right? So we start with C, and we could count C, D, E, F, G, and we end up with in the key of G. And now in the key of G, we want the 1, 4, 5 in the key of G. We go G, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, 4. G, A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we've got the key of G with a 1 chord, a 4 chord, a 5 chord, and a 1 chord. Okay? So that's in a different key, right? It's a 1, 4, 5. We're a tonic, subdominant, dominant in a different key. In the key of C, in the key of G, okay, and I'm assuming you know these chord forms. Or chord voicings. Okay, now if we go to the key of D, got the same thing. We got 5 fingers. Key of D. D is our root, right? Our thumb is a good root. D, E, F, G, right? D, E, F, G. We're just counting through the musical alphabet. Or as I have it here, D, E, F, G is the 4 chord. D, E, F, G, A would be the 5 chord and the beginning of the next key. So we're in the key of D. 1, 2, 3, 4. D, E, F, G. D, E, F, G, A. Just go D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Just goes around and around in a circle, right? And then D. So far we've got 3 keys. C, each with a 1, 4, and 5. Okay, and now the next key we'll go to is A. Let's count on our fingers. A is our root. A, B, C, D. 1, 2, 3, 4. Always just the same letter names. A, no sharps, no flats, nothing weird. A, B, C, D. So A chord. A, B, C, D, E. So now we've got 4 different keys, and in each case now we're just going to go to a 1 chord, 4 chord, 5 chord. We're just going to use the numbers. So we have a 1, 4, 5, 1, and then we went to G, 1, 4, 5, 1, and then we went to D, 1, 4, 5, 1, and then we went to A, 1, 4, 5, 1. And then finally, we're going to go to the key of E. And with E, we go E, root, E, F, G, A, right? E, F, G, A. And I'm going to use for the 5 chord a B7, just because it's easier in this case, technically speaking, like in terms of fingering. So E, 1 chord, 4, B7. Okay, now we have 5 different keys. Okay, here I just have a diagram of the cycle of dominance. This is another way to do it. This is actually really easy when you do it this way, and think of it this way. If you just count through fifths, you go C, D, E, F, G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, G, A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, D, E, F, G, A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, D, E, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is called a cycle of fifths because all of these notes are a fifth apart. If you want to see a 1, 4, and 5 chord progression like we started with, here's a C, an F, and a G. Here's a C chord is the 1 chord, the F is the 4 chord, and the G is the 5 chord. The F is called the subdominant because it's below the C, and the G is called the dominant because it's above the C. And they're both the same distance apart, a fifth. If we look at it in this perspective here, tonic, we go C, B, A, G, F. We count backwards, and we end up with a fifth below called, and that's why we call it a dominant, but it's like a basement dominant, and then we have the dominant above, C, D, E, F, G, which is a dominant. Okay, so subdominant and a dominant. You can go through the cycle of fifths like this, and now let's go to G, for instance. We could go 1 chord, 4 chord, 5 chord in the key of G, right? Then we go to D, 1 chord, 4 chord, 5 chord. And then we go to A, 1 chord, 4 chord, 5 chord. And we go to E, 1 chord, 4 chord, 5 chord. It all works out perfectly. It's our system of music. Our system of music is based on acoustical physics and simple mathematics. Okay, so here are the chord progressions, right? And written down in each of the keys that we just discussed. So we have C. I'm going to play them as they're written here. C, F, C. Okay, or G. Okay, you can work your way through that. And I've got at the bottom here just to remind me, if you want an added challenge, add the relative minor in the case of the C, right? Just add the relative minor, which you count 3 back, C, B, A. So the relative minor to C is going to be an A minor. And you can replace the C or the 1 chord with its relative minor. And that relative minor would be, we're going to throw an A minor in here. And that A minor is going to function like a C, but it'll just give you something a little bit different. Right? Isn't that nice? Or you can take this. You can do the same thing with the C at the front and just start on an A minor. And you can do that in each case. So in the case of G, you're going to have the relative minor is going to be E minor. In the case of D, your relative minor is going to be B minor. You just have to count back 3 in the scale. In the case of A, your relative minor is going to be F sharp minor. And in the case of E, your relative minor is going to be C sharp minor. Okay. Now, yeah, that if that's too much for you, just stick to the first 2. Just do the relative minor of C, which is A minor, and the relative minor of G, which is E minor, and that's about it. So what I'm getting at here is get to the point where you can get to a number system. Where you can say, I'm going to play a 1-4-5 chord progression in the key of D, and you know what that is. 1, 4, 5, 1, right? Bam! It's just like your phone number. You just spit it out. You don't have to think of it or count fingers or anything. You can do that at first. But the point is being able to immediately play in at least 5 different keys. And take it as far as the 6th chord. So the 6th chord would be C, A minor, F, and G, right? C, A minor, F, and G. So now you have 4 chords, 1, 6, 4, 5 in that case. It's like this. Right, so the 1, 6, 4, 5, 1. If you can do that in 5 keys, that would be great. Okay, I hope that was a help to you. Some people call that numbering system the Nashville numbering system, which is a little erroneous because that system, the system of numbering, has been around since the classical music period and before. So at least the 18th century. Okay, good. Thanks. I hope you got something out of that. The numbering system will work excellently when you start using it, because it's not sensitive to letter names, and it's a great way of communicating with other musicians that also know the numbering system. Let's do a 1-4-5 in the key of. Bam, everybody knows what you're talking about. You don't have to start rattling off chord names. It's understood what key you're in and that the chords come from that key. Okay, that's it for today. I hope that was going to be a help for you, and we'll see you real soon.